Staying hydrated is important to your health, but doctors want you to watch what you're drinking and how much. A new study has researchers keeping tabs on frequent fizzy drinks that could increase your chance of a stroke.
Have you ever stopped to think about what's really in your favourite drinks and snacks? Every bite and sip comes with hidden risks, and as the saying goes, you are what you eat. Even some food scientists have spoken out against certain popular drinks, declaring them unfit for human consumption. One expert warns that once you learn how some of these products are made, you might never want to consume them again.
No wonder cancer and heart disease are neck to neck for the #1 killers in the world today. Far more people die from alcohol-related diseases, far more people die from tobacco-related diseases, and yet they're not banning tobacco or alcohol, are they? That's why the deaths to COVID fade into insignificance against all of these.
Many people assume that what they eat and drink is perfectly fine, but that trust is often misplaced. So what are these products really made of? What goes into their production? In this video, we're exposing 15 drinks and foods you might never want to touch again once you know the truth.
More people suffer from the caffeine with addiction, and we've seen people come off methamphetamines, we've seen people come off marijuana, off alcohol. We even have a lady come who was a champagne alcoholic. We've seen people set free from the addiction of tobacco. We've seen people set free. But no one suffers like the coffee drinker. That's a surprise to most, because that's the legal one. Now, it is true, within 36 to 48 hours, the suffering's over. But if you talk about keen suffering, that would have to be the keenest suffering. And that's where we have the buckets of hot water. Why do we have buckets of hot water? We have buckets of hot water to put their feet in. Because when the head is aching and the blood tends to congest in the head and you put your feet in the hot water, basically the feet are saying, hey, come down here. So what comes down is the excess blood comes down and it takes pressure.
As a thank you for joining me today, we're giving away 100 free copies of my best-selling book to subscribers. So if you haven't yet, hit subscribe, like this video, and comment why you want to win. Instant noodles. Instant noodles are the go-to meal for anyone looking for a quick and easy way to fill up. Here's a fun fact. They were originally created to help feed Japan's starving population after World War II. Interesting, right? They're budget-friendly, take only minutes to prepare, and contain around 300 to 500 calories per serving. That makes them a convenient choice for those short on time or money, but eating them too often does have some downsides. On their own, instant noodles don't provide enough protein, fiber, vitamins, or minerals to be a balanced meal. Like most foods, moderation is key. How often someone can safely eat them depends on their overall diet and health, so enjoying them occasionally is fine. Just try to pair them with other nutrient-rich foods like vegetables, eggs, or meat. Still craving instant noodles after this? Surprised by how little nutrition they offer? Just wait until you hear about the next one. It's even more surprising. Coca-Cola. After a long, exhausting day, who wouldn't want an ice-cold soda? Probably no one, right? But here's something to think about. Those few seconds of refreshment come with some serious health risks, especially when it comes to weight gain. Studies have consistently shown a connection between soft drinks and increased body weight. A big part of the problem is that people often drink sugary sodas on top of their regular meals, adding extra calories without even realizing it. Fructose, a key ingredient in soda, doesn't activate the hormones that signal fullness, so you keep drinking without feeling satisfied. Plus, liquid calories don't curb hunger the same way solid food does. And here's another thing, sugar can be addictive, particularly for those already prone to addiction. The same areas of the brain involved in drug dependence light up when consuming sugar, leading to similar addictive responses. The type of fat that fructose contributes to is another issue. It's linked to belly fat, visceral fat around internal organs, and subcutaneous fat just under the skin. Even if someone isn't overweight, excess belly fat can increase the risk of heart disease, metabolic syndrome, type 2 diabetes, and even breast cancer. Still tempted to grab that soda? Beer. No way. Say it isn't true. But yes, some beers contain an ingredient that might make certain drinkers think twice, especially vegetarians. The culprit, a substance called isinglass, which is a type of gelatin made from the swim bladder of fish. According to the BBC, it's been used since the 19th century to clarify beer and give it a bright, clear appearance, because, let's be honest, everyone appreciates a good-looking pint. While isinglass doesn't alter the taste or smell of beer, that's little comfort for vegetarians or those who'd rather avoid fish-derived ingredients in their drinks. The good news is that brewing methods are evolving and more companies are moving away from using isinglass. Orange juice. Oranges aren't available year-round, so how is orange juice always in stock? Here's the inside story. Alyssa Hamilton, author of Squeezed What You Don't Know About Orange Juice and a fellow at the Institute for Agriculture and Trade Policy, shared with The New Yorker that both from concentrate and not from concentrate, orange juices rely on a little trick, flavor packs. But what exactly is a flavor pack? Hamilton explains that they are made using chemicals found in orange essence and oil, produced by the same fragrance companies that create luxury perfumes. These companies break down the natural orange essence into chemical components and then reassemble them to mimic a flavor that doesn't naturally occur. One of these chemicals, ethylate, is added to create that signature fresh squeezed aroma. But why is this even necessary? Gizmodo explains that orange juice is made by squeezing oranges and then removing oxygen to extend its shelf life. The problem is this process also strips away the flavor, so manufacturers have to put it back somehow. That's where flavor packs come in, which is why different brands of orange juice taste slightly different from one another. Not exactly what you expected, right? Are you still in the mood for that fresh orange juice? Maybe it's time to check those labels a little more closely. And if that wasn't surprising enough, the next reveal might just change your grocery shopping habits. Marshmallows and Jell-O. It might seem odd to see marshmallows and Jell-O mentioned here, but both are childhood favorites. Whether it's roasting marshmallows over a campfire or enjoying Jell-O at a summer picnic, these treats have been around for generations. They may be delicious, but their signature texture comes from a rather unappetizing process. Originally, marshmallows were made from the marshmallow plant, but today most are produced using gelatin, corn syrup, and sugar, according to Scientific American. Sounds harmless enough, right? Not exactly. Jell-O is also loaded with gelatin, which Healthline identifies as its key ingredient. But what is gelatin? It's made by boiling the hides and bones of cows and pigs, drying them, and then treating the dried product with a strong acid or base. This process extracts collagen, a connective tissue protein, which is then dried and ground into gelatin. And while the common myth that gelatin is made from animal hooves isn't true, that doesn't necessarily make it any easier to stomach. Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce is a common ingredient in many kitchens, but if you're not a fan of fish, you might want to reconsider that little bottle. The brand that originally created Worcestershire sauce, Lear and Perrins, has been making it since the 1830s, according to Huffington Post. Real Worcestershire sauce contains ingredients like onions, molasses, and various seasonings. But the key ingredient isn't just anchovies, it's anchovies that have been fermenting in vinegar for around 18 months. Yes, you read that right. The story goes that when chemists Lear and Perrins first attempted to make Worcestershire sauce, their early batch was so bad that they stored it in a cellar, hoping to forget about it. Months later, when they were about to throw it out, they decided to give it a taste. To their surprise, it had turned into something unexpectedly delicious. Still, that doesn't change the fact that the main ingredient is the same fish you might skip on your pizza, only these have been soaking in vinegar and fermenting for a year and a half. Shredded cheese and grated Parmesan. When picking out cheese, do you go for a block to shred yourself or grab a bag of pre-shredded cheddar or grated Parmesan? You might want to think twice because those packages could contain wood pulp, specifically cellulose, according to Bon Appetit. This plant fiber is added to keep shredded cheeses from clumping together. While it might sound concerning, cellulose is legal and safe, and nobody wants a bag of cheese that sticks together. The bigger issue is that you may not be getting what you paid for. Even if a package claims to be 100% real Parmesan, it probably isn't. This has even led to legal trouble. Castle Cheese, for example, was fined $500,000 for mislabeling their product by adding cellulose and cheddar to their parmesan without disclosure. If you want the real thing, it's best to buy a block and shred it yourself. Have you checked your cheese labels lately? Surprised by what you might be eating? Stick around, there's more food truth coming your way that you won't want to miss.
Aged cheese. What's the blue in the blue vein cheese? The blue in the blue vein cheese is mould. So the only cheeses that don't sit under that category, the cheeses that have probably a pH of 7 would be your fresh. So that's your cottage, your ricotta. I'm not saying that they are okay, because usually they come from cows who have not been fed right or have chemicals in them.
Wait a minute, there's something pretty unappetizing about how most cheeses are made, and it might catch you off guard. To turn milk into curd, cheesemakers use an enzyme called rennet, which comes from the stomach lining of young goats, lambs, or calves. Specifically, it has to come from animals that are still nursing and consuming only milk. Rennet helps these animals digest their mother's milk, according to the Spruce Eats. While they don't slaughter young animals solely for rennet, it is typically collected after the animal is processed for meat to ensure nothing goes to waste. There are also vegetable-based and genetically engineered rennet alternatives, but the FDA doesn't require cheesemakers to specify which type they use. Cheese and crackers might be a favorite snack, but yikes. Jelly beans. Who doesn't enjoy jelly beans? These bright sugary candies are a staple in Easter baskets and candy dishes. But have you ever thought about what makes them so shiny? That glossy coating is called shellac, and if it sounds familiar, that's because it's the same substance used to give wooden furniture a clear finish, according to the natural handyman. It's also used for setting gemstones and fixing pottery. But here's the surprising part. According to Mental Floss, shellac comes from the female lac bug. These insects consume tree sap and then excrete a resin that collects on tree branches. The resin is harvested, dissolved in ethanol, and sprayed on everything from hardwood floors to jelly beans. And jelly beans aren't the only sweets that contain it. Shellac is a key ingredient in confectioner's glaze. So if you see an additive labeled E904, you're actually eating bug secretions. Packaged bread. People often call something groundbreaking the best thing since sliced bread. And while sliced bread is convenient, have you ever wondered why store-bought loaves last so long without molding? The reason is an ingredient called L-cysteine. Here's the unsettling part. L-cysteine is a natural compound, but it's commonly derived from human hair. Yes, you read that right. Hair salons in China collect clippings, dissolve them in acid to extract L-cysteine and supply it to commercial bakeries. It can also be sourced from pig bristles, cow horns, or duck feathers, which isn't much better. So if you want to avoid this, consider buying fresh bread from a bakery, even if it means slicing it yourself. Does this change how you see your sandwich? Will you be more mindful of the bread you choose? Stick around, things get even more interesting. Caesar salad. Let's be honest, the best part of a salad is usually the dressing, and Caesar salad stands out because it's loaded with it. That signature tangy taste comes from Worcestershire sauce and anchovies. That's right, the same tiny fish that might make you hesitate before ordering a pizza when you see their blank eyes staring up at you. Even Kraft labels their Caesar dressing as containing fish due to the anchovy paste. Martha Stewart's classic Caesar salad recipe includes 4 anchovy fillets, while the New York Times version, at least a few tablespoons of minced anchovies. Feel free to add more if you're a fan, but let's be real, despite the fishy details, it's just too good to resist. Enhanced chicken and beef. Packaged meat is a major reason many of us enjoy eating meat. Let's be honest, if we had to source it ourselves, most of us wouldn't be as interested. But have you ever paid attention to how meat is labeled? If you've noticed terms like enhanced or brined, you might want to think twice before making a purchase. According to Premier Foods Group, injecting or plumping meat has become a common practice. This involves adding a saltwater solution along with other ingredients to keep meat fresher and juicier. But here's the catch. This process can increase chicken's weight by as much as 30%. Since grocery stores price meat by weight, that means you're paying extra for added water. It's so widespread that consumers spend roughly $2 billion a year on this saltwater solution. Know Your Beef highlights another issue, the excess sodium. A 100-gram portion of treated beef can contain up to 1,800 milligrams of salt. Considering the daily sodium limit is between 500 and 2,300 milligrams, you can do the math. Packaged meat. You might not give it a second thought when grabbing ground beef for taco night, but it may have been treated with carbon monoxide. While this gas is harmless in small amounts, it helps meat maintain that bright red color we associate with freshness, even when it has been exposed to oxygen and could actually be spoiled. This means you could unknowingly purchase old meat, all because of this deceptive practice. The process, known as modified atmosphere packaging, has raised concerns. A study from the Laboratory of Food Quality and Food Safety in Algeria found that the gases used, including carbon dioxide and nitrogen, can promote the growth of spoilage bacteria, affecting both the flavor and texture of the meat. On top of that, many countries have banned carbon monoxide in meat packaging, which is something worth considering. So, are you rethinking your next taco night? How do you feel about the safety of meat packaging practices? Up next is a shocking fact that might change the way you look at your dinner. Anything unusually red. If you've ever taken a bite of something and thought, that color definitely doesn't exist in nature, chances are it was red. This shade made headlines when Starbucks announced they would stop using a certain red food dye